Good evening. Welcome to the Danvers Conservation Commission meeting for March the 14th, 2024. We as a commission operate under the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 26 of the Town of Danvers General Bylaws, the Wetlands Protection Bylaw. After each applicant presents his or her request and the board has had time to ask questions and discuss the project, we'll accept questions from the audience. Because this is a public meeting, it is required by law that you give your name and address before you speak. Although we may disagree on the issues raised, all persons present during this meeting are expected to be civil to all other meeting attendees. This includes the members of the commission, staff, abutters, concerned citizens, property owners, and project applicants. We also request that you confine your questions to the project and only as it pertains to the Wetlands Act. We cannot handle, nor do we have jurisdiction over matters such as noise or traffic. All problems not related to the Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Danvers Wetlands Protection Bylaw must be taken up by the other appropriate boards. Okay, our first order of business tonight will be a roll call. Peter Wilson is present. Jonathan Garies is not with us tonight. Ann McGill.
Present.
Michael Splain. Michael is on vacation. And Vanessa Curran.
Present.
Okay, the first item on our agenda is 152 Endicott Street, the DEP file number 14-1402. I understand this is an authorization from the commission to collect additional funds in the amount of $142.80 from the applicant for the peer review conducted by Hancock Associates. Brian, could you just give us a little clarification on that, please?
Sure. So the Conservation Commission hired an outside consultant in order to peer review the stormwater and other the stormwater portion of the application for 152 Endicott Street. During that review, they invoice the town. We were holding the money. The total was $4,000. It went over by $142. We can't pay until you authorize the applicant to give us the $142 so that we can pay the 53G consultant. So this is a routine kind of thing. They went over a little bit. The applicant has already agreed to it. That's why they're not even here. They said, of course, we'll pay, no problem. So what we're looking for tonight is just an authorization to require the applicant to provide those extra funds.
Okay, good. Is this a public hearing, or is this just a vote that we need to take?
I mean, this is just a vote that you can move forward with. On the third page, it actually shows the necessary vote for 152 Endicott, which is to require the applicant to provide a check to the town of Danvers for $142.80 in order to close out the invoice related to the necessary 53G outside consultant review of the project.
Okay, seems pretty straightforward. Someone make a motion with authorize that payment?
I'll make a motion that we require the applicant to provide a check to the town of Danvers for $142.80 in order to close out the invoice related to the necessary 53G outside consultant review of the project.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Done. Okay, next up is a notice of intent for 191 Old Burley Street, DEP file number 14-1411. I see here a note that the applicant has requested to continue to March 28th, 2024. Before I entertain a motion to continue to then, just one question in particular. The peer review that's pending, that's a stormwater, right? So that's,
Yes.
It's not the delineation of the wetlands. This is just their stormwater plan.
That is correct. So staff, planning staff, along with engineering staff, feels that when there's ever projects related to Conservation Commission where you have to talk about stormwater, it makes sense to get that consultant review now rather than having to go through they can't really go through the whole process in conservation without that review. We had a little back and forth with the applicant regarding the scope and fee. They have agreed, finally, to that scope and fee. We also just got word from the engineering department that Ty and Bond, who you've already authorized to begin, well, they couldn't begin work until they got the money, but you've already voted in that Ty and Bond is the 53G outside consultant. So now tie and bond with the vote tonight of authorizing the $12,000, we'll be able to actually start that work and get it to us, hopefully, if not the next meeting, 2 meetings from now. So I will have actually that date tomorrow. I'll know when we're going to be receiving the peer review. The hope is that it's going to be at our next meeting 2 weeks from now. It's possible it might not be till 4 weeks. Again, the applicant has agreed to the scope, the full scope, as well as the $12,000 fee, and basically are saying we're ready to drop the check off as soon as the Concom votes it in.
And that was, the peer review was requested by,
Engineering department related to the stormwater.
okay, and that's, until that is, everything is lined up on that, we are in a hold pattern as far as.
Yeah, no pun intended there, but yes, we are in a holding pattern for the airport project.
Okay. So, is public hearing, is there any public comment before we make a motion to postpone?
Well, we need 2 votes here. One vote to require, basically the same vote that we had in the previous application. It's to require the applicant to provide a check to the town of Danvers for $12,000, and then you can continue.
Okay, so we're authorizing the peer review. Right.
Well, you've already authorized the peer review, it's just the money.
It's just, yeah,
Okay.
minor.
So someone can make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion that we require 191 Old Burley Street and department file, no, DEP file, number 14-1408, to provide, what do I,
The DEP file number is this.
oh. Did they change it? All right, I'm sorry, I've got the wrong DEP.
Yeah, it looks like there's the wrong, so the DEP file
Number.
number is 14-1411.
14-1411. Okay, thank you. Where was I?
Making a motion to authorize the peer review.
Okay, no, this is for the check.
Mm-hmm.
For $12,000 in order to perform the necessary 553G outside consultant review of the project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry about that.
Now if we can just continue to March 28th.
I'll make a motion that we continue the public hearing for 191 Old Burley Street, DEP file number 14-1411 to March 28th, 2024.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next up is old or new business, Rebecca Nurse Conservation Restriction.
Sure, yeah.
Right on that for us?
This is a bit of old and new business. So I don't know when the last update the Conservation Commission received from the previous conservation agent, but it was basically like, oh yeah, our lawyers are working on this conservation restriction, and that was kind of the last update that's been now, I want to say, somewhere in the 9 to 10 month range.
I don't remember ever hearing anything about it.
Well, it was like a very much.
It's even farther back.
It's even farther back. Okay, well, where we are right now is that our legal counsel has determined, based on state law, that the Conservation Commission is the actual entity that has to hold this conservation restriction. And basically, as, you know, what's going on the property as is right now in perpetuity. The language of the conservation restriction is almost finalized. It looks like we're a few weeks out, so we're getting there. It's not, you know, the attorneys are still kind of, they're almost there, but not quite there. So what we shared with the commission was the plan. So it's essentially a record plan that was in. I can certainly put it up, but it was really just kind of an update of, be on the lookout. We're going to have a conservation restriction that's going to be held by the commission. That language will be coming to us hopefully within a month. But there's really there's not like a lot of pressure for this, like this. There's no emergency that this has to happen right now. But yeah, it was really just kind of an update and if you guys had any questions, but it was really more of a staff update.
So it's just an update, we're not voting on anything?
There's nothing to vote tonight. It was more of just to share the plan, and that if you had questions, I will say that when the conservation restriction is finalized or nearly finalized, to be honest, I don't know how much wiggle room there's going to be, because there's basically 4 entities involved, a lot of lawyers, and they're the ones hashing it out. I can understand the Conservation Commission be like, well, I mean, if you guys are holding the conservation restriction, you would like to have a say, and what I'm trying to say is that say will be limited, but valued, but limited.
I think more than anything, we just want to be educated as to, what's going on.
So once the CR gets done, I will share that at a meeting. We will go over the nuts and bolts, and if you have any questions, like that's a later time, but not far away.
Okay. I think we had something similar with the Glen Magna property.
Yes.
A year or two ago, where there was all kinds of different deeds that they kind of had to sort out to get everyone in the proper order.
Yeah, because currently it's not being held by the Conservation Commission, which is against state law, meaning the Concom is the sole entity that should be holding this, not the town. It's Concom.
Okay.
Do we have any other properties in this condition?
You mean that where the town is holding it and not Conservation Commission? I'm not aware of any, but now that we are aware of this and legal counsel is, I know that we are looking into see if there's any of these other possibilities.
What's one off of Wenham Street? Remember there was some complaint about some property being misused in the back, and there was conservation land close to that.
Yes, yeah.
And they said that the Conservation Commission is the quote-unquote owners of that property.
It's going to be the same situation here. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
that's it. More to come, essentially.
Good. Did you have a comment, Mr. President? If you have a comment, yes, you should.
Well, he's sitting down front this time.
He's making progress.
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. On the Wenham Street property, I thought there was some damage to conservation land, trees removed or something.
Yeah.
My question is, from what I've read, whoever causes the damage has to make restitution, has to replace the damage,
I don't recall what the final, I know we had there was some area within the buffer zone.
Right.
That we told them that they couldn't do things within.
Right, which they did. As they say, they can be cited. They can also be sent to jail for a short period of time if they don't make restitution or correct the damage. I was quite surprised when I read that they could end up going to jail for a short period of time. So it's certainly, if they've done something that's violated what you folks are trying to hold them to, some of these people should really know that it's not just a slap on the hand going to jail. It's part of a permanent record, so they don't want to be doing something that they think is convenient for them, but not convenient for you or not legally. Anyways, that's just an observation I made about that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up is our meeting minutes from January 11th, January 25th, and February 8th, all of 2024. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
No, I couldn't find them.
It's a
Are
zip
we-
file.
Yep.
Do you have any, well, I think the two of us, we'd have a vote. So Vanessa, were you comfortable with the minutes?
I thought they all looked good.
Okay, so,
Well, if you and I vote, that's a quorum of who's here, but it's not a quorum of the entire commission.
how does that work, Brian?
It's pretty clear that if if out of the three of you, if one of you is not prepared to vote on it, I would just punt, unfortunately, and then do these three at the next meeting, where you have at least 3 voting members voting on the minutes.
Okay. All right, so we'll just postpone that to our next meeting.
I'm going to put down
Uh,
Vanessa says they're good.
Okay, before we adjourn, I just have to give a heartfelt thank you to Vanessa, who's leaving the commission. This is her final meeting. You've been an excellent commissioner. You just always knew the details, always asked good questions, and we're there, and I think we thank you for your service, and we're going to miss you, and we'd like to have you back.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for your kind words.
I'll echo that. I've read a lot of minutes over the past, and you're just an extremely valued member, and I want you to know there's going to be big shoes to fill, and if you know anybody, I think I've already asked you, but
Who has big-
thank you for your service.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, that being said, and we're all a little teary-eyed, now we can just have a motion to adjourn, and we'll be done.
For the last time, I move that we adjourn tonight's meeting.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you all. 18 minutes.
Ooh, good one.
Oh, I said 17. Not bad.
Well,
I don't
maybe
think
do
I've ever
17.
been as